Forever. Welcome back to Double Dose of Queen. Today, what are we doing, Veronica?
We doing a couple movie reviews.
Okay, first of all, I don't know why you made that sound so bland and depressing.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
We're about to do a couple movie reviews for y'all.
The first one was very depressing.
Listen.
Okay, both of them, to be honest.
Okay, yeah.
Depressing.
One pissed me off, and okay, they both pissed me off.
Let's actually tell them what the movies are.
Okay.
Wait, what?
So we watched. I said clean. Queen and Slim, and then we watched a Netflix movie called In the Tall Grass. So we should start with the Netflix one first.
In the Tall Grass, y'all. I want my hour and 30 minutes back.
Listen, I definitely posted a status, and I was like, I literally watched a movie today about people being stuck in grass. Because that was the movie. So
a whole hour and 30 minutes
of people stuck in grass being controlled by a rock.
Or you know what? I won't even say it.
I
will say that
a boulder. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The whole movie was supposed to be
trash.
Okay.
Sorry.
The movie was based off a Stephen King novel. Okay, so
yeah, people told me that like I was supposed to understand that, and I was like,
I mean, well, if you're a Stephen King fan, I mean, me personally, I'm not. I don't really care for thrillers or horror flicks or books, but to each his own. But I'm just saying, yes, they literally made a whole, I won't say, maybe the first 10 minutes they weren't in grass, okay? It was how they got to the grass, okay?
So if anybody wants to understand the basis of the story, it's basically about a brother and sister. The sister is pregnant. She's heading to San Diego, and I don't really know why. But
it turned out to be, you end up finding out why later. It was because she was going to give her child up for adoption.
Oh.
That's what it was for.
There we go.
But you find out this like later. It's one of those movies like you have to watch it. And then once you get through it, then you hear like what the reason was behind some things.
Right. So they have pulled over.
You have a lot of questions. I'm going to just say, this movie watching, you got a lot of questions at the beginning. I didn't know what was going on.
They pulled over and she had to throw up.
The middle of nowhere.
And it was like a church, a random ass church.
In a big old field
of grass.
You guessed it.
Grass.
Tall grass.
Right.
Okay. In the tall grass. Y'all get what they did there.
So they heard this little boy. I'm gonna call him Johnny. That wasn't his name, but we're gonna call him Johnny right now. It was like Triton. Wait.
Tobin, that's what's his name. His name was Tobin. We should know because people
watched
were
the movie.
Names. People were yelling names this whole time because they couldn't see each other. Tobin was his name, okay? And they should have never stopped for Tobin. Let me tell y'all, they should have never stopped for Tobin.
Are you coming? I need help.
Okay, yes. So yes, they stopped in front of this church in the middle of nowhere, and
keep talking, girl.
They stopped in front of this grass. So they get out the car. Don't laugh. Look, they get out the car, y'all. And so in the distance, in the grass, they could hear this boy yelling for help, okay, because somehow he got in the grass, okay? He lost his way and he couldn't get out. So he was crying for somebody to come help him, okay? So the sister, I forgot her name. I forgot both of their names. So the sister, she felt bad for the little boy, right? So she's like, we can't just leave him here. Mind you, she pregnant and just threw up, okay? But, we can't just leave him.
Why her silly self went into the grass is beyond me.
So she
should have just let the brother go in.
Go into the grass to go find the little boy.
And then
her brother decides, they're going to go in there together. Okay, great. So they go into the grass. No plan whatsoever about how to get out of the grass, mind you.
I guess they hope that
they just decided they just would go into the grass, and search for this little boy that they don't know where he is in the grass, and somehow managed to get out the grass when the little boy just got lost in the. But okay, anyway.
They lost each other.
Yes, they got divided.
And then she met this random man who apparently was the father of, what's that boy name?
Tobin. Tobin's dad.
I'm going to call him Toby. So.
Toby Sr.
So, she followed him around, and then the little boy came at night and appeared to the brother, and he was like, "Well, your sister gonna die unless you come back. But I can show you where she is."
He come with this information that he just knew his sister was gonna die.
Right,
okay?
but you could touch the rock.
Yeah, like what about this rock? This big dumb boulder, okay? Like what was it
in the
about
middle?
This rock?
So he knows how to get to the rock, but he doesn't know how to get to the road. I'm confused.
Right.
So, apparently the father was looking for the wife too. And they were looking for the dog, but the dog was dead.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So we found out towards later on in the movie that it started out with this family that got lost in the grass, okay? Because the dog ran into the grass and Tobin followed after Freddy.
Sorry, that was my dog.
She's yelling at her dog. But anyway, the dog in the movie, his name was Freddy, okay? So Tobin went into the grass to go get Freddy because Freddy ran up in there. He got lost. To the rock. His mom decided that she was going to follow him in there. She got lost. And the dad had to go in and try to go get them. And then, of course, he got lost. So everybody's entering into this tall grass without a plan and getting lost up in here.
Somehow, the pregnant girl that we still don't remember her name.
The sister. We refer to her as the sister.
The grass somehow got into her baby.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. This is where it got strange. Okay?
So the grass somehow got into her baby somehow. So the baby was able to give her some type of ability to see.
I don't know what it was.
Who was
evil and who wasn't.
Right.
Like who was possessed by the grass or the was it the grass that was possessing people or the boulder? I don't know.
You have to touch the rock in order to be possessed. Yeah.
So I guess it was the rock. Okay, the rock was in the center, and it was in the center of the grass. Okay, and there was like miles and miles of grass, and just in the center of it was this rock. Yeah, this big old boulder.
So she was able to find out that the father of the little boy was possessed, and they tried to run away from him, and he tried to kill them / or get them at least to get to the rock, to touch the rock.
Long story short, she got murdered.
Right.
Okay.
So did he murdered his own wife.
He murdered his wife.
Exploded her head.
Exactly. The only one that didn't die throughout this whole ordeal was Tobin. To be honest.
Right. But we forgot about the whole ex. The ex came in.
This was later though in the movie. See, confusion.
Plot twist.
Okay. So her ex, the sister's ex, or the girl, okay, the pregnant girl. Her ex showed up because he had went after them because
he had to change his heart. He wanted his
days?
child.
How was it? It's been, he said it was been 2 months. 2 months. It was 2 months. And they had not, the family, like, nobody heard word of them reaching San Diego.
Right. And
so
they were like, it's only been a couple hours.
He jumped in his car and went on a road trip to go get them. And again, he stopped in the middle of nowhere in front of the same church in the field of grass, okay? Because he seen their car parked in the churches, in front of the church.
So he just assumed they were in the grass, so he walked right in.
Exactly. How he knew they was in the grass, I don't know.
Right.
But let me tell you, out of everybody that was in the movie, he was the smartest dang one, okay? He the only person I know went in the grass and was like, okay, I'm going to tie. Like, he clearly had some camping skills or something. Yeah. Because he was like, I'm going to tie this grass. Like, I've been here. Keep walk. I've been here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Had a plan, okay? Yeah. The only person we seen go into this grass had a plan.
Yeah. He was the one that was pretty much to save all of us.
Jokes on him, though, because the grass was, like, peculiar and, like, possessing people and shit. It, like, untied itself. But, you know, I don't know. He was the only smart one, though.
Yeah, so as each night, if you don't touch... Like, basically, they keep killing you. So you keep reliving the same thing
it kept repeating itself.
Yeah, so you would still see the same process of them going in the grass. But, like, because there was new characters in the grass, like... Of course, the actions were a little bit different, but they still ended up dying. You know what I mean?
It was like a cycle.
Right.
That just kept repeating itself. So, needless to say, when the ex showed up and ended up in the grass, his the pregnant girl was still alive, even though we just witnessed her like
dead.
Like we just witnessed her dead a minute ago.
Die.
Like dead serious. But it was like a cycle that kept, and I mean, there literally was no, like, I don't even understand how The Rock got there. I don't understand what his purpose was. I don't understand how, like, I don't understand.
We were really confused. But the end of it really was the ex ended up technically saving the boy.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't necessarily save the sister.
Well, he did. Because it repeated itself. He chose to break the cycle.
Right. So he sacrificed himself. So he touched the rock at the end.
Yeah, after they killed the guy who's the husband, killing people. Right. Tobin's dad, Tobin Sr. He killed him, okay? And it was a struggle. The fight scenes was alright. They was decent. Not really, but after he like killed him, which I was surprised he even killed him because I could have swore he stabbed homeboy and I could have swore he died. But clearly people, you know, it was a consistency of people like getting up from the dead, like after getting like stabbed, I don't know, to death, that they would get back up and like he did though, like. How you die and then you get back up and then go kill somebody.
Kill somebody again.
And then the same thing with the pregnant lady. Like how you just die and then you just up and you helped him. How are you gonna get
out of here?
Like how did she do that? But anyway, I'm just saying it was.
But yeah, he sacrificed himself, touched the rock.
And he became the leader
of the rock,
of the possession. I don't understand it, but yeah,
he wanted to save everybody, so he was like Tobin. I'm gonna keep calling this boy Toby.
He told Tobin how to get out of the grass.
I was trying to.
I'm sorry, you was stumbling over his name.
She over here just taking over the review. Dang. Okay. And she's the one who hated the movie more than
I swear I wasted my time.
I can't. But anyway, he saved the little boy and told him to save the sister and the brother, you know, all that. He went to the church, saved them. Boom, boom, happy birthday. Cool. End of the movie. But it was trash.
It was a waste of time. It still don't make sense.
Right, we still don't
And we tried to look up like some other reviews to like see like what the purpose of the movie was, and like there wasn't a purpose. Yeah. Like it was a movie that literally didn't have a
Netflix
purpose.
Movies are like a hit or miss.
But
now.
you know that definitely was a miss. I don't know what they were trying to do. I don't even know what Stephen King like what Stephen King novel was it based off of. I don't even know. I should probably look that up. But you know. I don't know what it was, but if you want some entertainment,
but y'all should watch it though.
In your life, go watch In the Tall Grass on your Netflix, fam.
It'll be a good conversation, so please go watch it.
Yeah.
And we can talk about it.
Okay,
that's not going to entice them to do that. Like, yeah, let me waste my time tonight. Click.
If you bored, go watch In the
There we
Tall
go.
Grass.
That's better. So now, Queen and Slim. So.
Okay, we're switching gears here.
We are. Queen and Slim.
No spoilers.
As
she made that look, you can give one without spoilers.
We just spoiled the whole other movie.
Don't watch. Look, that wasn't worth watching though. Look, don't watch this. We'll put in a disclaimer. Don't watch this if you don't want to see spoilers. If you haven't seen it.
Spoiler alert. There we go.
Okay, spoiler alert.
Because I don't know how else I was going to do that.
Okay, go ahead.
So this African man. Because I don't know.
Wait,
I think his name's like David, right?
What?
Sorry. Anyway, but you know, okay, so he's like a weird looking kid. Okay, let me stop doing that. He's gonna watch this video one day and be like, "You were talking about me," and I'm like, "I'm sorry." Anyway, rewind. So this is our commentary about Queen and Slim. So this man and this female, right? They go on a date. They're eating.
They met on Tinder, y'all.
She basically said, I was lonely and I just wanted to get out, so I'm using you for a date kind of thing. And for some reason, he was okay with it, which, whatever.
I mean, he wasn't, like, okay with it. He still was like, well, damn, okay.
But he was still there. Like, I wouldn't have even accepted.
To say?
Not accept the date.
It's too late.
F you.
He didn't know that was the reason she accepted the date though. They was
But
already
we
in the
should
middle
know
of
better.
eating anyway.
We
They
should
was already
know
in the middle of
better.
eating,
Okay, we are
He was
not
like, well, damn. Okay,
backup
excuse me.
plans. You feel me?
Okay.
That's what we promote on Unapologetic Queen. Go check that out. Thank you.
Okay, look.
Shameless plug. Okay, anyway, go ahead, girl. Go ahead. Don't mind me.
She had something. I don't know what it was. Too much.
I had a nap. That's what I had.
We need to go back now.
After this video.
But anyway, they so they were on this date at this diner. Something like that. But long story short, they ended up leaving the diner, leaving for the date or whatever. And he was he was driving, we all seen the little previews. He was cruising down the road, about to take her drop off at home or whatever. And she took his phone.
Well, no, he wanted to still go do stuff, remember?
True, but
she was like, no, you can take me home.
You can take me home. So
Stank.
and then she ended up taking his phone. I don't really remember what happened. She ended up taking his phone or whatever because she was like, "Oh, you got a playlist, da 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 da, whatever." We seen the previews, right? So he ends up don't go through my phone or whatever, and she's still going through his phone or whatever. So he goes to reach over and snatches the phone from her,
and the car
but
goes,
he swerved. Yeah, the car, when he tried to snatch his phone back. So they get pulled over by the popo.
Woo-woo.
Okay. So I'm mad you got sound effects going. Anyway.
You're welcome.
So, and this was they were in Ohio? Okay, I think they was in Ohio, y'all.
They were in a state that's not Illinois. Cool.
Okay, they was in Ohio. And so they got pulled over by the popo, okay? No mistaking that this dude, as you go along with this encounter, of course it was he was racist, okay? We knew he was. He was on BS. So
it got to the point where is she a lawyer? She is a lawyer.
She's an attorney, right? Attorney.
Oh, it's not this. Okay, anyway.
Same thing. She was an attorney, licensed attorney, okay?
Isn't that the same thing?
Yes.
Anyway, why is she trying to over here check me or whatever?
I just was saying
so she was trying to support the man, she was like, I'm reaching into my pocket and record this, and
I have a right to record this.
Right.
And the popo wasn't having it.
Right. So he shot at her, and
that was when you missed the part where he made the dude get out the car. He made him get out of the car and didn't even have no plausible reason as to why he was making him get out of the car. So that's why old girl was questioning. And she's like, I have a right to record this situation or whatever, because she stepped out the car too and was like, I'm reaching for my phone. And the popo
was pow pow.
Yeah, got irritated and straight up shot her. Yeah.
David, I was gonna call him African boy again. Was like whoosh, and then he ended up shooting him. I hope y'all like my sound effects. I do them a lot. And so he shot him, and so
he killed the popo. Right. On accident. It was self-defense.
Right. And homegirl was like, well, now we have to run away. And he was like,
wait,
I want to go home to my family.
And she said, if you go home, you ain't never going to see your family again.
You want to die?
Do you want to die?
So he was like, well, what do you think? I think she did at some point, but not that way. We just embellished that part. But,
you're welcome.
You're welcome. We spiced it up.
A little ad lib for the little review.
Right. Spice it up a little. So, he was like, well, what do you propose we do then? Because, if I can't go home, then what? So she was like, we need to go. We need to plan. So she was like, well, let's go to New Orleans, and my uncle's up there. And he was like, but that's hours away. And she was like, well, that means we should start moving. And he was like, so he was over here. My man was listening to gospel, okay? He was trying to get his mind right. And she was like, I ain't trying to listen to this.
He killed a man on accident.
Right.
He felt some
He can't listen to the Lord's music.
Okay, to uplift his spirits.
Right.
Give him some peace of mind so he can figure out what he about to do.
Right.
She was whole hate.
She was just a negative Nancy, and we were not here for it, okay? So, she was like, can you just turn that off? And he was like, no. And she was like, but I don't like it. And he was like, so? So, I forgot. Oh, they ran out of gas, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
then she got mad at him, like, why weren't you mad at
And he was like, "Well, I had everything else on my mind. I just showed him
but
it."
you were driving.
But she was the one who suggested to go on this whole impromptu road trip. So why would...
Because they were on the run, okay?
On the run. Runaway love, you feel me?
Exactly.
Runaway love, hey. Runaway love. Come on with it. Okay. So then they had to tail down this guy, a car. And it was this guy who happened to be a sheriff.
Whoops.
So he took him up to the gas station to get gas. Then, their news of shooting the cop and news about them already hit the papers and hit the news and all that.
Yeah. So when the sheriff was inside, getting a gas container for them and about to put money down on the pump, he seen it. He peeped it. That they were the ones, okay? And then,
but
of course,
was coming back real calm and cool, He was
but
like...
they peeped him. They peeped him, and they were like,
he
knows. He knows. And she was like, get in the car. And he was like, what are you talking about? Do you want to die? I don't think she said that right there. It's kind of bogus,
either, but they definitely took him back to their car and put him in the trunk.
In the trunk. They put the sheriff in the trunk, okay?
He was like, let me help you. And he was like, what are you doing? He wanted to help us. She was like, he's not going to help us.
Right.
And so they left him in the trunk.
Yep.
I hope he got out because we showed them.
You know what? They never did go back to find out, did the sheriff get out the trunk?
Car? Right.
Did they find him? Did they find the first vehicle?
Hopefully he okay.
I hope so.
So they went to her gangster uncle, okay? He was an OG, right?
He was a pimp.
Got some ladies up in there. And apparently he killed her mom by accident.
Yeah, some years ago.
Yeah,
so they was fighting.
By, by her saying, you owe me, he helped her out. They got into a car. He helped them with a new car.
Mm-hmm.
So they kept moving, stuff like that. The car had car issues. Am I missing a part? No, I'm not. That was the next.
So, yeah,
okay,
that was the next part.
So they went to a shop where this little boy, Malik.
Yeah, I think that was
his name. We're going to call him Malik. He looked like a Malik. So he was very in all of them, because...
Yeah. They started finding out that they had, a lot of support. They didn't know.
Yeah. And it was for a reason they weren't really trying to promote, because they were it was self-defense. It wasn't like that. It's not like we were, trying to start something, but people took it the way they wanted.
Made it a whole movement.
A movement,
Power
right.
for the people.
Black power.
Okay.
And, they were like, well, that's not what we were trying to do. But, he was all about, he had this mindset of it's black people against cops. Mm-hmm. And cops are the enemy. And they were like, that's not it at all.
Well, I'll just say it was just people against cops. Because he sure did, off my man's. He was black. The popo.
I know, but that's it. Once you're a cop, he considered him an enemy.
You a traitor.
Yeah. So it's still cops in him.
But that was not the message. It was actually pretty sad. That part took me out. But anyway.
And apparently he ended up having to die, so because of that. Of
course, yeah.
So that was kind of sad. But anyway, so they made it to these people that how did they even get in touch with the Shepherds?
The uncle.
Oh, the uncle.
That's what they were on the way to.
They were on the way to
They stopped at the shop, the boy. That was a hiccup on the journey.
So they went to the next step of the help, I guess, to get them to... Initially, they decided that they were going to try to get all the way to Cuba. Mm-hmm. So the next step in that was the Shepherds. So it's this white... older couple.
How her uncle knew is because they served years ago together in the military. Just a little backstory on that.
Right. So they're the preppy, white, rich family couple, I should say. It's only two of them. And they got there. The wife was not really here for it. She was just
But she still supported her husband, even though she disagreed with the whole situation.
Yeah, she did. She was But he was you're safe here. There's a bunch of hiding spots. You're good. They were sitting down having dinner. The popo was
I'm telling you, 2 bites in. I felt so bad for them.
They didn't even get to eat. They were probably trying to eat real good too.
I'm telling you, they ain't ate in a while. Okay.
But they SWAT team was bam, we here. What's good?
They was kicking down doors, taking names.
Oh, okay. And the couple was under the bed, but like the floor,
under the floorboards,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so the police were like, "Hey, like you should just tell us where they are," and
hey, you should just tell us where they are,
right? And brother man, what was his name? Mr. Shepherd. He was a real one. He was like, "How am I going to tell you where people are if I haven't been here?" Right.
I don't know who you talking about.
Like, but they have a whole car here. People park here all the time, sir.
I don't know who that is.
Right. He was a real one.
Exactly.
But the next day or the next morning, they tried to escape from the floor.
Yeah. They got up out the floor.
So she was like, "We gotta jump out this window."
Yeah.
And she was okay, this is the part that got me. So she was the one telling him, "Hey, make sure you bend your knees when you hit the ground and roll." This girl did not listen to her own advice, and the whole just bopped her shoulder out of socket. Like, how do you give advice and you hurt yourself? And he was fine. He listened to your advice. Did you not listen to your own? I don't know. Anyway, so they had to steal another car. A cop saw them, and instead of reporting them, taking them into custody, any of that, he let them go. He was like,
"Power to the people.
Be breezy."
That was his deer. He let go into the wild.
Yeah.
Because the cop was like, "That there boy is nature, boy." And
he was like, "No,
okay,
those are humans crying.
I'ma go check on nature then, don't call me boy." And then, he ended up finding them, and he was like, "Y'all can go ahead." And then we came back home. He was like, "What was that?" And he was like, "It was nature."
Like it was deer crying. You're right.
Exactly.
They were caught. I let them go.
I set them free.
And so then they went to the next location, which was pretty much just like a setup spot because it was like out in the
At this point, they got caught, okay? Because when they went to this location they got from Mr. Shepherd, it led them to the middle of no freaking where.
Right.
Okay?
And they didn't even get their next contact to that following morning.
Exactly. So they fell asleep.
Sure did.
And oh boy, some random dude who you would never think even knew who the Shepherds were, tapped on his window with a whole rifle.
Right.
And
aimed at him. He was like, "Why are you looking scared?"
They felt some type of way about it.
Face.
You know how you got that sixth sense? They both knew they were screwed at this point.
Right. But they were hoping.
But they was like, what do they have to lose? So homie was like, I mean, are you not finna, you gonna sit here and let the cops catch you, or you finna come there? I mean, what are your options? So of course they went with homeboy.
Right.
So they jumped in homeboy car and
went to his trailer.
Yeah, went to his trailer. The guy that he knew for the connection that had this plane that was gonna get them over to Cuba, he called them and they told him that he said they would have it ready by tomorrow.
They were
like, no, we need it now, like right now,
like today.
Exactly.
And
so
he was like,
okay,
let's go.
Right. So he called homeboy back, and they said they would make it happen. So they went. So at this point, they pull up. The helicopter's right there. The plane, the plane is right there. Was it a helicopter?
Yeah, I think
was
so.
It a plane? I don't know.
Anyway,
the flying thing that they were gonna get in, it was right there, fam.
All they had to do was
run
to it.
Okay. I didn't understand why he didn't just pull up to it. This is what made.
That's how they knew it was. Should have noticed the setup.
They were walking towards it, and then soon as they got like maybe halfway there, all the popos and fans and everything. Sorry.
She popped me in the head.
All the popos and fans showed up, okay, and told them that they needed tougheries,
Get on your knees.
Put your hands up, all that
or
stuff.
I will shoot you.
Exactly. Pew, pew. So, of course, long story short, even though they could see that they
I was mad. Okay,
she got shot first.
She wanted to have this whole little sentimental talk in front of the police. I will never let your hand go.
She gonna be a true ride or die.
I know you would have touched my scars.
It was a bit depressing.
I want to be your legacy. You do? Pow. Why are you having this sentimental talk right now? Like,
I mean, they knew they was gonna die.
Okay.
And
just say I love you.
Homeboy was like, "I hold your fire," because of course they had to let the white chick Popo shoot her, of course.
It was an
and
accident.
then he like picked her up and started walking towards the popo, and then of course they like
all
shot him all up.
Right.
So he got shot like 50 times. Okay, I'm probably exaggerating. He got shot multiple times. He got shot enough to dance. Okay, he did the little dance, but he fell out. That ain't funny.
He did a shimmy.
He did a shimmy. Okay, and then he dropped. Okay, and that was like the end of the freaking movie. Yeah, like, I just want to say, it left me with major depression. I feel like at the end of it, like, I feel like, honestly, we all knew that they weren't gonna make it.
Yeah, you knew
but it was like one of those, maybe they'll make it to Cuba before they get off. Like,
right. I was like, at least make it to Cuba, or if anything, at least go to jail, get questioned, all that stuff, and then be sentenced or something. Like, why did you have to kill him? Why are you killing our people? But you know what I mean? Like, I did not appreciate that. They knew they were goners. The movie was bomb until then, okay? Yeah. That killed it for me. So what would you rate it?
I rated it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, see?
And I feel like it wasn't because it was like a bad movie. It's just that, man, it just make you think about like the stuff that's actually going on today. And I know the scene that really did it in for me was definitely when they ran into that little boy. And it just shows how much, like, what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the other movie we watched that came out earlier this year, The Hate U Give. It reminded me of that. Like, how the older generation, what we do, the movements that we have, all this stuff about police brutality and all that stuff, like, how it really affects the youth, and how the youth or the younger people, like, how they interpret it, how they understand it. And something that they did, like they said, became a movement, but how it translated or transpired to this little boy was that, like she said, it was
cops are the enemy.
Cops are the enemy, regardless of anything else. Like, if they're the police, like, they're a bad person. So he felt so strongly about it that he made one of the gravest mistakes of his life that cost him his life.
He was willing to die when he made that decision.
And he shot the police in the head. Like, what?
And he made that comment when he met them. He was like, if I leave this earth, I want to be remembered. And he wanted to be remembered by that. And that was sad.
Yeah, very sad. Very sad.
That was
extremely
the way
sad.
He should have been remembered.
And I feel like that was a good point. I feel like it was a good point that they made in the movie.
Yeah, the messages in the movie overall were really deep. Good. Yeah, really like deep. You really had, and it doesn't take too much thinking to see what the messages were. You know what I mean? It was a good movie. It's just the ending pissed me off.
Yeah, the ending was like, dang, because they didn't make it.
Yeah.
But overall, it was still a good movie, though. Yeah. It was pretty decent.
I hope you enjoyed our wonderful commentary.
It was really messy, but yeah. Go check those movies out if you haven't.
Yes, let us know what you think. Maybe you guys will have a less dramatic commentary than we just did.
I know, we were all over the place.
We were, but we hope we entertained y'all. But yeah, so that's all we got for you guys today. Check back with us again for the next video or whatever.
Bye.
Bye.
You got it. Hey. You got it, girl. You